Greetings everyone. I'm Professor Anand Marya, the Dean of the Faculty of Dentistry at University of Buddhisastra, and I'm very grateful to be a part of the DIES LEAP Enrichment National Multiplication Training Program for 2026 organized at Petra Christian University, Surabaya, Indonesia. So I'm very grateful just because this multiplication program deeply resonates with my own leadership journey. So what I'll be sharing today is not a formula but more of a practice-based reflection. So how leadership has evolved for me personally while serving as a dean, and how a blended form or a leadership approach has helped me navigate change, complexity and growth. So I hope some of these experiences are very useful for you, and I hope this is very valuable for you. So over the years, I've realized that effective leadership, specifically with regards to healthcare or dental education, it can't be one-dimensional. So this was one of the reasons why I decided to go in for a blended approach, which draws from different forms such as transformational, a visionary, a mix of coaching as well as servant leadership, which fits in line with our institutional, cultural as well as human context. So there are many challenges which we encounter in our day-to-day lives, and then dentistry, it's a very unique field. So we literally work at the intersection of education, healthcare, ethics and patient safety. So every leadership decision that we make, it eventually affects many people, such as the staff, the faculty around us, the students, our patients, and eventually in turn our profession as well. So leadership for me, it's not about hierarchy or a position of power or authority. It's more about positive influence, responsibility and accountability. So there are many leadership changes taking place in higher education today. So you can see there are, whether it's Indonesia, whether it's Cambodia, institutions are facing an unprecedented period of transformation. So for us as leaders, we must respond to challenges that are both immediate and systemic, which require agility, vision, as well as deep commitment to our communities. So during my tenure, I've seen there's been rapid change, increasing expectations in terms of quality assurance, enhanced student needs, which place enormous pressure on us as academic leaders. So there has been digital and pedagogical transformation. Stakeholders have different needs. We have different accountability towards our society, as well as quality assurance pressures. So for us, when we think of leadership, it has to be a more flexible approach or an adaptive practice where we can't really rely on a single style, because it doesn't really affect, I don't think it's as effective in every situation. So it has to be a continuous process, which is we do a situational evaluation, and it's also continuously evolving because it involves reflective practice. So if we reflect regularly on our decisions as leaders, I think it helps us learn better and also refine our approach to leadership. So which is what I try and practice most days. I try and make sure that I learn from the mistakes I have made, which in turn helps me in become a better leader. So what I wanted to share with you was what I practice is a blended leadership framework. So as I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's more or less a blend which can, so there are different components which can increase or decrease depending on your present situation. So for me, I personally like the 4 styles which are transformational, where we want to inspire change, foster innovation, and building collective commitment to institutional transformation. So I believe I've done a lot of work in the research arena. So it was one of the things which I wanted to effect in terms of change at our university and in general across our community as well. And then we have visionary leadership, which focuses not so much on the short-term KPIs, the short-term goals, but it's about having a long-term direction and anticipating future needs as to what do we see ourselves doing over a 5-year or a 10-year period of time, and having a strategy keeping both educational as well as our cultural context in mind. Then because we are leaders, we also have to have a coaching mindset where we try to develop human capital, human resource, we nurture potential, and we create a culture of continuous learning to encourage future leaders. And last, I don't think many people might know, but there is a form of leadership called servant leadership. I think I learned this during my time when I joined the IDC, the Dean's Training course in Germany, where it talks about serving with humility, prioritizing service, and building trust through basic decision making, and having genuine care for the people that we work with. So I really like this approach in a sense that we as leaders should not have personal agendas, but the basic idea behind this is to serve and try and help our communities, help our students learn better, and offer a better working environment for everyone we lead. So I thought I'll share some examples with you. So of transformational leadership. So we've had over the past year or so, since I became the dean just about a year ago, but I've held various leadership positions, which was to inspire a shared purpose where we all work towards a common goal. We encourage our students to participate in research. We organize research conferences for them. We try and expose our students to international conferences so that they learn what are the current standards. So we skip beyond the resistance part, because the students and the faculty that we lead, they are exposed to a different culture altogether, where they realize, oh, this actually works. So this can help you overcome resistance very easily and inspire others to follow you. Then we have transferable lessons, because it's very important to get the message across as to why we are doing something or why we want transformation. So I always realized that there was a scope to improve research in the Cambodian context. So that was what I set out doing many years ago. And then along the way, I think people just understood why I'm trying to do something. So it was easier to nurture a younger group of researchers and let them do things and try it out their own way. So we have to make sure that people who follow your way are psychologically safe, because you are their fallback option, where you are there to protect them and nurture them. So you should always encourage experimentation and also help co-create that transformative process. So I think it fits very well in terms of where we are in the Southeast Asian context. Then as leaders, we always have to be visionary. So we always have to think long term, not about short term goals. These are my KPIs for the year. We should anticipate what are the competencies which might come up in time. We need to align with the current needs of the society. And because we are in healthcare also, we have to be sure that we have a certain sense of direction during this period of rapid digital transformation. So we should be very good at translating vision into strategy. So we should think of, okay, these are the changes we make. This is basically the outcome we should expect. It may not be 100%, but we move towards that direction positively. Then we develop and nurture our faculty so that we can build future leaders, future educators. We need to have strategic partnerships. So I've spent a lot of the major part of the last few years trying to build strategic partnerships, not just in Southeast Asia, but across Europe as well as the American continents as well. And then have shared ownership of goals, because you have to be responsible, so that when you have gains, stakeholders see this. So everybody likes to take shared ownership of the success as well. And then I also like to have a coaching mindset, where we actually work on developing human capital, human resource, because this was one of again the points that I thought I could improve, which was developing human resource. So a few years back when I moved to Cambodia, I realized there were very less dentists and there were very less researchers. So one of my priorities was to develop faculty as future leaders, students as learning partners, and feedback, whether it's constructive, whether it's negative, it's always a growth tool. So there is never a lesson which you cannot learn from. So we have to have a very positive coaching culture. We mentor future leaders, we lead multiplication, as is the example of this LEAP enrichment program. We have reflective rituals, and we allow safe experimentation for our faculty as well as students. So we have to have that servant leadership in mind, where we are humble and we don't have personal agendas as leaders. So as leaders, we have to prioritize the needs of the others, keeping our needs on the back burner. And that is how I see leadership. It's more a position of responsibility than of power. So in academic practice, I always think that we have to have student-centered learning environments. I do focus a lot on faculty well-being and support to make sure they always feel supportive in whatever endeavors they have. And then we have to make sure that we govern ethically, and as a leader we have to be visible and should be easily approachable so that people can come to us, let us know what they have problems with. So for me, I like to have a mix of these four leadership styles, which is transformational, visionary, servant, as well as a coaching lifestyle. So for me, that has always worked, but it could work in a completely different context for somebody else. So for me, I basically like to distribute leadership, make sure others around me feel empowered to make decisions, experiment. We have a sound developmental system. We foster knowledge sharing, as well as make sure that we absolutely take care of our institutional reputation as well as resilience. So this has always led us to very good results, and we've gone up in rankings, even though I feel rankings are a bit misleading. But I think it keeps us on track to find out if we are doing something correct or not. So for me, I'd like to offer some take-home messages or reflections. So leadership is a continuous practice. It's a never-ending process where we keep learning and we keep evolving as leaders. There's always something new to learn from somebody with more experience, somebody who's much better than us. So, and again, adaptability is a key. So the easier you are to adapt to situations, I think it's a very major strength as a leader. And then I don't think we should, again, in terms of personal agendas, I always thought the ultimate impact is legacy, and there is no better legacy than developing or fostering a future generation of leaders. So we must constantly ask ourselves the question, what leaders are we enabling next? So that this will help guide our daily choices. So who are we nurturing? Where do we want to see them grow? I think that's what affects our decision making as leaders for sure. So with that, I thank you all for your attention, and terima kasih, and I wish you all the best for this NMT program, and I wish everyone at Petra Christian University thank you so much, and I have sincere gratitude for everybody for letting me join this program. Thank you.